The left debates the retirement crisis. I'm going to go over a couple articles from far left-wing websites that talk about the retirement crisis and show you that the retirement crisis is not uniform even on the left. All right, so we're going to start with the Center for American Progress, which, if you remember, is Podesta's. Are they still around? I can't remember. Funded by Soros, the Podesta Group. Here's 2015. I've had this in my thing to talk about for a long time. I've lived it for almost going on a year, and so I've been wanting to do this. I just haven't had the chance, so now I'm going to do it. So let's read Dateline 2016, January 2015. I'm sorry, Dateline January 26, 2015. Excuse me, from the CAP, the Center for American Progress. When reviewing, and this is from Keith. I don't know any of these people, but I'll put a link in the show notes. When reviewing the data on how American workers are saving for retirement, two facts become abundantly clear. Millions of Americans are in danger of not having enough money to maintain their standard of living in retirement, and the problem is getting worse over time. All right, how do I want to attack this? Let's just read what they say, and do I want to comment? Let's just read what they say. The consequences of these growing... Okay, maintain their standard of living. I don't want to maintain my standard of living. Why? Because my standard of living includes right now, I'm paying income tax, FICA, housing, mortgage, 4 kids in college, whatnot. My standard of living should drop relative to my income. And not my standard of living, but if you equate standard of living to my income, yes, because my income should drop significantly because I have no mortgage, no kids in college, no broken bones. Sorry. The consequence of these growing savings shortfalls can be severe for both American families and the national economy, as a large share of households may be forced to significantly reduce consumption in retirement and have to rely heavily on their families, charities, and the government to help make ends meet. Rather than staying in control of their economic lives, millions of Americans may be forced to muddle through their final years, partially dependent on others for financial support. Oh no. They're just going to be like the bread lines in the Great Depression. If only government would help. Oh, wait. 15% of my income is going to government already, and that's just on FICA. Never mind my income taxes. This issue brief will illustrate the reality of this crisis by first looking at what the data have to say about how much Americans are putting away for retirement. It will then evaluate the results of studies that use complex modeling, like the climate scientists. The modeling can never be doubted. The models. No. Pablo's eating my 10-pound division hat. No, you can't do that. I had an old dog named Stout who ate my Boston College hockey hat. Oh, yeah. All right. That's nuts, buddy. Oh, look at this guy. Pablo says, hi. All right, let's see. All right, the most convincing estimates are the share of households who have insufficient assets stand at slightly more than 50%. But even more sobering is the fact that the most optimistic studies still find that 1/4 of retirees are falling short. Well, of course, if you're falling short, that you need 100% of your current income, while you're making your most amount of money at 55 and 60, yeah, you're going to fall short, but that's not a problem. That's actually not a problem at all. All right, facts, of course, facts according to the Center for American Progress. The data available on how American households build up financial assets and how they have done so over time show an American public that is struggling to prepare itself for retirement and that will become less prepared over time. A large percentage of Americans are saving nothing for retirement. According to a recently released household by the Board of Governors of the Fed, in 2013, approximately 31% of Americans had zero retirement savings and lacking a defined benefit pension, or lacking zero retirement savings and lacking a defined benefit pension. Okay. And I've talked about that, so we'll just dive into it a little bit deeper. The finding, remember, they don't have a pension and they don't have savings. So they're combining those two. Okay. And so 31% have zero retirement savings and. See how they got the and? Not or, the and. Yeah, this finding is in keeping with the results of other comprehensive Federal Reserve surveys and means that nearly 1/3 of the people in the United States currently have no money put away in any type of retirement account to supplement their Social Security benefit. That's not what it says. That's literally not what the study says. I've been reading verbatim. They say they have zero retirement savings and lacking a defined benefit. That is literally not the same as saying they have 1/3 of Americans have no retirement savings. That's just that little word, and. See how nuts this is? I don't know if these guys are idiots. I don't know. Or if they're nefarious. I don't know. But that's a big deal to say that 1/3 have no retirement accounts and to use that as a study from the Fed saying 31% have nothing, no retirement savings, and a defined benefit that's a bridge too far. That you can't make that mistake and call yourself a professional journalist. Among respondents aged 55 to 64, those nearest to retirement who already should have built up significant savings, the share who reported having no savings or pension. Now see, they're saying no savings or pension. They're saying or before they said and. Now they're saying no savings or pension is 19%. Approximately 1 in 5 of every retirement household. Okay, so that's 20% of the population. See the difference here? Pretty significant. This is the people 55 to 64. 19% say they have no savings or pension. Okay, so that changes the matrix quite a bit here until how to analyze that. Does it not? Oh, but 20% have none. Well, that means 80% have something. All right, so let's keep it. See how, man, and see even here, percentage of retirees with no savings or pension by age. 18 to 25, 50%. Only a half the people 18 to 29 have no savings or pension. 60 and older, only 15% have no savings or pension. 45 to 59, 23% have no savings. See, that changes it quite a bit, doesn't it? When you say the or instead of the and. So which is it, man? Which is it? Yeah. And actually, even if you were to say the and is still and replace that with an or, it's still less than a third of the population have no savings and a pension, which means the vast majority have a savings and a pension or a pension. That such a share of Americans lack any savings should not be particularly surprising, given that so many lack access to the primary savings. See, this drives me freaking crazy. The reason you don't have any private savings is because you lack access to having a savings vehicle. Every single, I would say in a different way we used to say in the Army, let's just say Sierra Delta has access to a retirement savings plan called an IRA, every single one. It's not the lack of access, my friends. As of 2014, only 65% of private sector workers had access to retirement plans for their job, and only 48% participated in one. It's not a lack of access. It's not. Hold on just a second. Let's keep going. Moreover, these numbers have not been getting any better over time, and that's why they have these new rules now where it says we're going to give you, Secure Act, we're going to allow 401k part. The whole thing is this stuff right here gets into the vernacular and makes the politicians say we're going to do something about the retirement savings crisis. We're going to allow small business to co-opt together, to get together and have provide retirement savings accounts to their employees. And you're like, yeah, but the employees aren't contributing to IRAs anyway, so why would they do a retirement savings account through their employer? Well, we could force them. Yeah, that's not freedom, baby. That's not freedom. Families that are saving often have insufficient assets. A traditional defined benefit, and see, this is what they always, for some reason, they love. The liberals love the defined benefit plan. And the defined benefit plan is not a free thing. You have to stay at your job for a number of years to get it. Come hell or high water. It's not allowing for you to escape. You have to stay. As traditional benefits, pension benefits become increasingly rare, it's more important for workers to build up savings and defined contribution plans. Unfortunately, and they do talk about IRAs right here. See how it's just, they vacillate. It's so, ugh. Unfortunately, most households have failed to build up anywhere near enough those accounts. As of 2013, the median retirement account balance of all households between 55 to 64 was only $14,500. Even after excluding all households that saved nothing, the median account balance of near retirement was still only $104,000. Where are they getting that from? If they're using it through remember we talked about this many times before, if they're using the median, is it on all assets or just those specific accounts? Remember that, like Fidelity, they use these studies, I can guarantee they're using those same studies. They're saying, what is it that you have in this one account? And they're not using other IRAs that you might have outside of that. They're just saying this one account, how much is in that? And many people have multiple accounts. And I guarantee that, look, man, it's the same. It's going to be the same study. I guarantee it. They're going to say the same thing. According to Fidelity, according to Merrill Lynch, according to Vanguard, the median account balance at our place is $104,000. Okay, well, other people have accounts at Vanguard and Fidelity. Other people have old 401k plans that are part of Fidelity on top of my new 401k plan, which is part of Fidelity. It's nuts. So all right. How would you even study that, to be perfectly honest with you? I guess what you do is you say, you get the 1098 or 5498. I guess 5498 at the end of every year. The IRS could say we have $8 trillion of assets, and we have, where's my calculator? How many people we'll say 75 million people. Look, I don't even know how to do that on my calculator. So you can say 75 million people above the age of 25. We have $8 trillion of assets in retirement accounts, and you can calculate that. I have no idea what it'd be. Let me just say 75 million divided, or we'll say 3. So if you have 75 million and 8 trillion, we'd go 7,500. All right, hold on. So you slide off the million, you'd have 7.5 million on 330 billion, 8 billion, 7.5 billion. Let's do that. Can I get 8 billion on here? Yes, 8 billion divided by 7.5 million, which means each. See, I don't know. You put about 106, I guess. And maybe that's how they're doing. They're saying they're taking the total accounts of what the IRS shows on 5498s, dividing that by the average person, by the number of taxpayers who are over the age of 25 or something like that. I guess that's how they're doing it. That still doesn't make sense. But either way, okay. Be it as it may. The facts seem somewhat confusing to those who know the aggregate sum of savings that such plan has grown over time. Well, that's an impressive sum. At more than 12 trillion. There you go. That was in 2013. It's 12 trillion. It's a heck of a lot more than that now. The distribution results in typical middle-class households having very low savings in the account. Simply put, the wealthy hold most of the assets. So I guess, again, if you want to do that, you say the average account. Let's see, are they saying the median? Yeah, I don't know how you figure that out. I mean, literally, I don't know how you would figure it out because you can't say the IRS would have to calculate every single account that they have attributed to every single Social Security number and then give a median from that. I don't think they do that. And so what they do is they look at the things like from Fidelity and Vanguard, which says, according to Vanguard, our average account is this. According to the IRS, the average account in an IRA 401k qualified plan is this. That's not the same as that's interesting, but it's not as legitimate as actually saying the median person, not the median account size, the median person. The median person has how much in their accounts, especially if you look at the age, say 50 and above. That's what matters. Households today should increase their savings relative to prior generations, but they're not doing so. Why? Why should they increase their savings? This gives let's see, according to the Survey for Consumer Finances, or SCF, made clear while these ratios did improve in increasing savings during the 1990s and early 2000s, when the housing bubble was growing and stock markets were booming, they collapsed following the Great Recession and have shown no signs of recovering. All told, households near retirement age were worse off in 2013 than in 1989. Meanwhile, ratios for younger households showed almost no significant growth even when the economy was doing well in the 1990s and early 2000s. This is particularly worrisome, given that during this time, workers increasingly shied away from the pension plans to 401k plans, defined contribution plans. Okay, despite relative retirement needs growing over time, households have not built up additional assets relative to their income. Yes, they have. Yes, they have, because their income is growing and their Social Security taxes are growing, and the Social Security is growing as with it. Man. The stagnation of wealth to income. Yeah, there you go. There's Alicia Munell, the Center for Retirement Research at BC, has previously explained in great detail retirement needs have actually grown significantly in recent years. Life expectancy has increased for full Social Security benefits as the full retirement age has increased to 67. Healthcare costs have also risen substantially, resulting in higher expenditures for retirees. And the decline in real interest rates since 1983, that means that a given amount of wealth accumulated now produces less retirement income than would have in previous generations. For all these reasons, workers should be approaching retirement with greater wealth relative to their income they did a previous generation. Now we're paying more taxes, significantly more taxes for sure. It's odd how they don't talk about how the poor and middle class are getting taxed on Social Security benefits. Isn't that weird? The left doesn't talk about that, because that would be one that they could easily say, why should someone with a household income less than $50,000 be paying tax on Social Security? All right, so the pessimistic assessments, we already talked about the National Institute of Retirement Security and many other videos, and how they are bought by the pension groups, if that makes sense, the state-by-state pension groups who want more assets to manage, and they create this fear to say, you better fund our pension assets, governments, and so that their whole point is the retirement crisis is worse than we think. I'm not going to get into that too much because I've done so many studies on that and videos on how the NIRS is bought, paid in full by the pension advocates, for sure. No other way around that. And they're looking, remember we talked about, they also say you need 85% as replacement rate. Remember we said that? That's what the NIRS says. You need 85% of your current income to successfully retire in retirement. Not only do you need it out the gate, but you need it on a growing thing to account for inflation. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. So you can read that and say, oh man, the NIRS, they sound like they know what they're talking about. It's the National Institute of Retirement Security. They're saying we need 85% of our pre-retirement income. It's just silly. And then on top of that, it grows each and every year with inflation. Show me the evidence, man. Show me the evidence. Notably, the share deemed to be at risk, let's see, and we already talked about right there, 85%. This report uses industry-recommended guidelines for brokerage firms at Fidelity to assess what share of the households are on track to hit an income. That is the share of a household's pre-retirement income that it needs to replace in retirement to maintain a standard of living of 85%. It's just fake news. All right, so I'll put this on there. And you talk about optimism. Okay, let's keep going down here. Why use it? Okay. All right, so let's talk about there is no retirement for my man Kevin Drum, a big lib at Mother Jones Magazine. Dear reader, they're trying to raise money. Okay. In LA Times today, Josh McGee makes a common sense observation about the retirement crisis. To qualify as a crisis, the situation today should be dramatically different than in past decades. By the way, this is Dateline, June 21st, 2019. Look, Kevin Drum is a big lib. But I actually respect Kevin Drum. He's a big lib, but I respect him because I think he shoots from a common sense perspective. And not that I would agree with him on much, but I think he's a straight shooter. That's what I'm going to say. He's a straight shooter. Let's keep reading. But there's compelling evidence that nothing much has changed at all. Sure, we rely on 401k accounts and less on old school pensions, but the actual amount we save for retirement doesn't seem to have changed much. The crisis, as near I can tell, is mostly an invention of Wall Street firms or the Center for American Progress there, Kevin, which is those are your fellow travelers. The crisis is an invention of Wall Street firms which churn out endless supply of studies with scary headlines but not weighing the facts on the inside. This might not matter so much except that it distracts us from some real problems. Chief among them are the underfunding of Social Security and state and local pensions. I have no qualm. I don't disagree with that at all. Policymakers and other advocates should also find ways to help people achieve a secure retirement by enhancing Social Security benefits for low workers. I am 100% on board with that. Absolutely. Raise the bend points. That's what I always say on the first two bends, for sure. Certainly the second bend. That's where the lower middle class people fall. Raise that bend point from 15 to 20, and maybe 15 to 25. You can even lower the bend point on the third bend point, which is where the wealthy fall. Fine. But raise that second bend point, and you're done. And then maybe raise payroll taxes by, like I said, $35 a paycheck, both sides of the equation, the employee and the employer. We're done. We can go home and enjoy retirement. Raising a furor over non-existent retirement crisis is diverting attention from these and other important issues. Again, the ability of Social Security to be there for low-income workers and to expand it for those people. I completely agree. We need to get beyond the doomsday approach to retirement savings policy that we can pragmatically tackle the real issues at hand. I'll add to this that we need to do something about long-term nursing costs for retirees, which can bankrupt middle-class families. Personally, I'd expand Medicare to cover it and be done with it. Have any of the Democratic candidates proposed this? It's not only good policy, but also good politics to attract a lot of middle-class retirees. I fundamentally agree with his political leanings on that. It would be huge to attract middle-class voters because that is the number one fear people have, which is too bad because the likelihood of this happening is quite minimal, but that's a huge fear. And if you're a politician, you go to where fear is and you propose plans to eliminate that fear. I mean, this is healthcare stuff isn't going away. It's not going away and has been bandied about more and more by both sides, but no fix is done in terms of at least what people think. And so if I were on the right, as I am, I would say, look, we're going to do something about long-term care costs for sure. Be it expanding Medicare, which Medicare is dead on the vine as we sit here today. I don't know how you do. I haven't thought about how you would do that without getting some other revenue source. Obviously, going after Medicare cheats is a big one. Obviously, going after people who get on Medicaid from the state, who should not be on Medicaid from the state because they're giving away their assets before they go into a nursing home. I'm surprised the left doesn't talk more about that. That would be a big thing. I would throw my hat in, not with the left, but with those kind of arguments to say, look, we're going to go after the nursing home cheats. We're going to go after the Medicare cheats on both sides. We're going to go after the abusers. We're going to go after the people who are filing policies when their mom is dead and they still want the Social Security assets. We're going to go after those people. But we are going to ask that we have more long-term long-term care money for people on the lower end so that they don't go broke. And one of the ways we're going to do that is go after the people who cheat the system without question. Say, oh, not only we're going to claw it back like they do in the state of West Virginia for 10 years, but we're going to penalize your estate for doing that as well. I got no qualm with that at all. Household net worth is, right here. So this is from the Federal Reserve. Household net worth as percentage of disposable income. And you can see right there. So, I mean, the liabilities and assets, the assets are 800% of liabilities. So you can see the household net worth as percentage of disposable income has just jumped like crazy from 1952 at basically 550% to 800% in 2000. Was that 16 or something like that? So I'm a big believer in this for sure. So good job on Kevin. Kevin Drum, could not agree more, and I'm 100% throwing with Kevin Drum as opposed to Center for American Progress because they're all rabble rousing to get you scared to raise money from you. All right, we'll see you.